Right, so this is from the BBC News website. This is the headlines of all the papers today, which I usually go through. This is from the Times today, and this is called Police. This is on the front page. This is Police Want Powers to See Public's Web History. Demand over secret data ahead of spying bill. Police have demanded the power to view the internet browsing history of everyone in Britain in advance of a major surveillance bill being published next week. Senior officers have lobbied the government to force telecommunications companies to retain for 12 months data that would disclose specific web addresses visited by customers. The move would enable police to seize details of the websites and internet applications used by anyone they wanted to investigate, from suspects to missing persons. They believe the enhanced power to be essential even for standard investigations, given the scale of activity now carried out online. Police maintain that being able to log visits to child abuse sites and gain details of social media pages visited by missing persons is key to their role in protecting the public. One senior officer said that it was about everyday investigation rather than surveillance. The idea that technology companies would have to store the browsing history of tens of millions of internet users will alarm privacy campaigners. The hacking of the TalkTalk database has heightened concerns that stored details could be broken into by cybercriminals. The disclosure comes as The Times concludes a 3-day series for which it was allowed unprecedented access to the security services before publication of the draft investigatory power bill. So the Times itself has been privy to this information. Final decision on whether the retention of internet connection records will be included in the bill is not expected until just before publication. The police would not have access to the content of internet searches and social media messaging without judicial approval. While they want visits to home pages to be logged, they would not be able to see the extent of browsing and content accessed within a particular website. Although officers have argued for the power, there is nervousness that including it could mean the legislation falls foul of European court rulings on data retention and undermine the entire bill. Civil liberty campaigners have warned of the sheer cost of retaining so much data above and beyond privacy implications. The Conservative MP David Davis, a fierce critic of the abuse of surveillance powers, said the police were trying to revive a power that Parliament had already rejected. It's extraordinary they're asking for this again. They are overreaching and there is no proven need to retain such data for a year, he said, adding that they needed to prove their case, not just assert they need it. The ICR proposal was originally suggested in the Communications Data Bill, the so-called Snoopers Charter, in 2012, but was abandoned primarily because Liberal Democrat ministers in the coalition felt that it was too great an invasion into privacy. Senior officers insist that without such access, they would be flying blind in everyday investigations. Telecommunications companies provide data on an ad hoc basis, but they are not required to by law. The police say that the information is not stored for long enough, and it continues on page 11 and page 4 of the actual paper. So they want to have the browsing history of everyone in Britain in advance of a major surveillance bill being published next week. So between now and next week they're asking for this, and they want companies to retain our information for 12 months. This is major data gathering, because by this information, yes, they'll be able to find child porn and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But it won't be just used for that. Now, they are going to be getting data from people who are anti-government, people that are anti-council tax, people that are anti-tax, paying their BBC TV licence. You know, there's a lot of other stuff that they'll find through this information. It's basically a way of tracking the mind of everyone, which I've discussed before. You know, that's what cookies are about. That's what Googles are about. From the moment you put on your PC in the morning, they can track your whole way that you've been thinking. This has never been, you know, they've never been able to do this to humans before. And this is how they're able to, you know, always preempt us and stuff, I suppose, because they know how we're thinking, they know where we're going. But this is just ridiculous, to be asking for the power to see everybody's internet history in Britain. I find that a bit too much, and it definitely does, I think, go against our civil liberties and I think it goes against, you know, freedom. You know, forget about freedom of speech now. I think we need to change that term. Freedom of thought, it should be. because there is not much speech allowed anymore, is there, really? So this is about freedom of thought. And anyway, I just think it's wrong. Peace out.